Welcome, friends, to Boiler Room Detective Channel. If you enjoy these videos, please like and subscribe to the channel. This case is the case of that time the boiler exploded with Ray inside the boiler room. We sold several boilers one summer for 3 schools in the same district. It was a nice sale. A different installer was used for each school. When I sell boilers, I meet with the installer when the boilers are set in place. This meeting is to review the installation to make it a painless, trouble-free project. Most installers appreciate the help, as I have seen many boiler installations, especially with the boilers we sell, and know what works and what doesn't. The school district appreciated it too, as they had their share of misapplied equipment in the past that needed to be fixed. On this project, the installer, Tim, didn't like me from the start, and I'm not sure why. While talking with the school district project manager, I told him that Tim didn't want me to come to visit. It didn't cost anything for me to be there. The project manager called Tim's boss, the owner of the company, and I was asked to be there the next day. I reviewed the piping with the installer, and I could feel his anger. "Is there something wrong?" I asked Tim. "Yeah, these boilers are garbage. I told the district they should have used cast iron boilers and not these," Tim barked. "My boiler was a vertical fire tube boiler." "I'm sorry you feel that way," I smiled through clenched teeth. After calming, I asked, "Would you like me to review the wiring diagrams with you? They can be a little tricky." This really set him off. "Listen, I know you think we're all rednecks down here, but I've been installing boilers for 30 years and don't need some out-of-town expert telling me my job," the man yelled, holding his air fingers up for the out-of-town expert part. I nodded and said, "Let me know when you're done, and I'll do the startup." That's the arrangement I make with my customers. My company starts every boiler we sell. I tell them the contractor is welcome to be there, and we could show them some tricks we learned. The guy mumbled something under his breath as I walked away. I'm sure it was something complimentary. On the day of the startup, I met with the company's owner, who was much nicer than Tim. I opened the burner cabinet, and the wiring terminations looked nice and professionally installed. I didn't bother checking the wiring. It's my bad. I just assumed it was correct because of how neat it was installed, and the installer telling me how many years he had been doing boilers. Sorry for sounding petty. About 20 minutes into the startup, I opened the manual gas valve and waited for the pre-purge to finish and the pilot to light. When the pilot ignited, there was a loud boom, and I was knocked to the floor on my wallet. I crawled to the burner and shut off the manual gas valve. The flue pipe was knocked off the top of the boiler, and the room was filled with dust and dirt. The contractor and I went outside. Our ears were ringing, and we both looked at each other like the coal miners in those antique pictures. I felt like a giant fist hit my chest. Holding my cell, I saw my hand shaking. After informing the project manager of what happened, the owner and I stepped back inside. The contractor asked what was wrong with my boilers. He was covering himself, I understood. Kneeling on the floor in front of the burner panel, I discovered the issue. His installer connected the 120-volt power wire to the gas valve terminal instead of the L1 terminal, allowing line voltage to flow directly to the gas valve and filling the boiler with gas. I showed the contractor what happened, and he asked if it was wired that way from the factory. I shook my head. There was a series of curse words, and the contractor walked outside. Just then, the project manager arrived and asked what happened. I showed him the wiring terminals, and he shook his head. We checked the boiler and found out it was in good shape. The only thing it needed was a new flue pipe. Now, on every startup, I check the wiring connections, even if they were factory wired. I never assume they're right. As I think about this job, I remember a contractor friend hired a guy with 20 years' experience. When I met the contractor a few months later, I asked how the tech with the 20 years' experience was doing. He told me he got rid of him, and he said something I always remember. He said the tech didn't have 20 years' experience. He had 1 year experience 20 times. He never learned. If you would like to contact me, my contact information is here. In addition, I have 2 websites. Brewingwithsteam.com is focused on steam systems for breweries and distilleries. It includes a monthly blog post about steam issues inside a brewery. My other site is fireiceheat.com. It's my company's website and shows some of our capabilities. I have authored 12 books on boilers which are available on Amazon. My technical articles are included in these industry publications. Thanks for stopping by Boiler Room Detective, and I'll see you on the next case.